Welcome to Let's Talk Money, Honey, the podcast where we break down the barriers to financial success.
I'm Elise Levy here with Holly Henry, and we're your hosts, two financial advisors on a mission to demystify investing, unravel the complexities of money, and sprinkle a little wisdom into your life.
Whether you're a seasoned investor or just dipping your toes into the world of finance, join us once a month as we discuss how to navigate life's financial twists and turns. Just remember, building wealth and living your best life should be empowering, not intimidating.
So listen up and let's talk money, honey. Welcome to another episode of the Let's Talk Money, Honey podcast. We are in February already. Holly, what are we going to talk about today?
So, we thought it would be really good to just kind of go back and start at square one. I feel like we need to discuss about how you and I even met and even just kind of define what our jobs are because so many people don't even know what we do or even what a financial advisor is. So, we are just going back to the very, very basics in this podcast.
Absolutely. And I think we have a lot of new faces, new listeners from our podcast. We have people from our webinar from last year, but it's always good to just reiterate what we actually do because
Yes,
it's the question I get asked most.
Yeah. My next question is how do you get paid?
Yeah.
But no, I think it's just a very basic for us to even go back and kind of introduce ourselves because here we are, we've been doing these newsletters and the videos, and we just assume everybody knows who we are and where we're even from and why we even started in this industry. But again, there are a lot of new faces. So let's start at the very beginning.
Okay. So taking it all the way back, I'll just give why I became a financial advisor. So I was working in marketing and social media marketing and doing graphic design. I did that for about 5 years. And actually, what led me to financial advising, even though, and some of you know this, my dad has been a financial advisor for 35 years. I never once thought about doing it. I was like, no, that's not for me. But getting my MBA, my master's in business administration, I realized that I loved finance. I loved economics. And so I asked my dad if I could shadow him at his work and see what he did. And what I really understood or learned to understand about the business is it's really a people and a relationship business. And he just helped people. He helped people on their way to retirement, deal with death, loss of a loved one, divorce. And that really is the job, is just helping people. And that's really when I decided that's what I wanted to do. Holly, what about you? What was your journey like?
Okay, so I guess here we are, we're 2024 now, and
Mhm,
I still feel like a lot of pivotal moments in people's lives begin with the statement back in COVID.
mhm,
And that was the pivotal moment for me. I actually worked at a religious organization. I was in HR and I love the organization. It's still dear to me now. I have nothing but great thoughts about them. However, I had plenty of bad thoughts about COVID and being in HR, and it made my job so stressful. So we made it through round one of COVID, and then the news started talking about round two, and I just thought I can't do it again. And so I'm from Arkansas. There's not a lot of options around here. Really, teaching and nursing is about it. So I actually went and took a nursing exam to see if I could even just get into school. And somehow I got in. And I was meeting with my financial advisor, and I said, "Hey, I may be going back to school for a few years. Let's figure out a financial plan." And he was like, "That just doesn't fit you. Like, that's a job, that's a calling, and that's not your calling." And so he ended up offering me a job. And I guess I need to back up. So when I was 19, I started like small or short-term cabin rentals and in storage units. So I have invested a lot of money into real estate. Investing has been something that I've been interested in. Entrepreneurship is something that I'm very interested in. And I still am an entrepreneur aside from being a financial advisor. So he was like, this actually makes more sense. And so I don't think he really thought through that job offer. But I snatched it up, and again, like what you said about helping people, um, if I can do anything to help someone, absolutely. Like that's where my heart is. But investing is just a passion for me too. So if I can help people and have fun while I'm investing their money and seeing that their accounts are growing, then to me it's just a win-win. So this has become a career that truly has become my passion.
Absolutely. And we are entrepreneurs. We all are small business owners. And, one of the parts of the job that's very fun is you wear a lot of different hats throughout the day. Um, but how did me from Nevada and you from Arkansas, how did we meet then?
So in the midst of us training for this, we went through the LPL program, and I guess there was what, maybe 50, 60 of us starting
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And I just remember we're in the first few classes of training to be a financial advisor, and you and I had a moment to where we had to like pretend we're financial advisors and have these conversations. So very much like a Zoom call like this. No one else is on the call. And I think I just had a broke down moment of like, I have no idea what I'm doing. You've got to guide me. Like this is over my head. And it's like we became like fast friends from that point on.
Absolutely. No, it was. It was that moment of you were like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I was like, thank God, because I thought I was alone.
But I also think that that is something that we take as financial advisors. We have learned to be great financial advisors, but we understand people that have their weaknesses, and we're there especially to guide them, especially females. This has become our passion too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I think we both love vulnerability.
Mhm.
And with all of our clients, I think everyone walks in feeling so insecure and they're like, okay, here are my statements. And most of the people I have to tell them, I'm like, you're doing great.
Yes, absolutely. But since we had those moments of having no idea what's even going on, but let me just say, like, to become a financial advisor, the amount of training that goes into it,
Oh,
there was 7 months of that's all we did was study and take exams. And it is very like you have to be very serious about this job, the amount of continuing education that is required. But then moving forward, so we made it through all the exams and we passed. We finally got to meet face to face
mhm.
at San Diego, no, Denver, I think first. So we
Denver,
went
yeah.
to 2 conferences. So we went to Denver and San Diego, and there has just been a few of us that have stuck together even after this program and become friends during it.
Absolutely. And it's such a great resource. And yeah, the other thing I wanted to say, just as you were saying, it's very hard to become a financial advisor. Not to say that people can't do it if they don't want to, but it is the most regulated industry you can work in. So when people ask us, how are you regulated? How are you monitored? We're monitored in so many different ways. And so we really are legally obligated to be fiduciaries for our clients, but also we want to be fiduciaries. And when you hear that word, that just means we always have to act in the best interest of our clients. So
Mhm.
whether we necessarily agree with it or not, we're always thinking about you and thinking from your perspective, will this serve you best? And not about making a profit or making a sale.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have been throwing around LPL because we just
Yeah.
expect everybody to know what LPL is. So, LPL is actually LPL Financial. Elise, do you want to say a little bit about LPL?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what we get to tout is LPL is the number one independent broker dealer in the country. What does that mean? That means that we, as independent brokers, hire LPL to do money management, to do compliance, to do all these different marketing, all these different things for us. But when I say independent, that means we don't work for LPL, they work for us. And so, unlike some of those big wirehouses you see, like Schwab and Fidelity, those advisors are reporting to that company and working for that company. And what's really cool about LPL is we all get to be small business owners. So Holly is her own boss. I am my own boss. The only people we have to really report to at the end of the day are our clients. So those are our boss.
And one thing that's unique about LPL is because we are business owners. I actually work, it's LPL Financial, but you see us use DBA names. So
Mhm.
it's River Valley Wealth Management for me. And it's good because we don't have to, like all these companies, we look different. We don't have to worry about color schemes of the office like the way that you see in some places. We get to run things the way that we want to, and we're not limited in the products that we can offer our clients. We have an unlimited array of items that can fit every type of client that we have. To where in some of the other type of brokers, you're limited to use whatever product that they're selling. To where
Yeah.
us, we have more options.
Absolutely. So an advisor at JP Morgan is going to use JP Morgan products, where at LPL it's really cool and we can look through all of our options and we can buy anything and use any money manager we want. So LPL rocks.
At least
Okay.
a pivot on you. So can you tell me a little bit about like your day to day as a financial advisor?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The one thing I have to say is every day is totally different, which is why I love it. It's super stimulating, but basically we spend a lot of time working and just helping our clients through whatever happens. So, depending on the time of year, there's always top of mind things. So, right now, everyone's getting ready for taxes. Um, Usually, the end of the year, we're working on people who are in retirement over 72 and a half, working on required minimum distributions. But we're talking to our clients all day, every day, whether it's meetings, whether it's phone calls, and then on top of all of that, you have to know what's going on in the market and what products and changes are going on, meeting with other people in the industry. So it's really, there's a lot going on day to day. What about you, Holly?
So I agree. And one thing that I do want to reiterate is the great thing about Elise and I, and then even to reiterate a little bit back to LPL Financial, is they have a program that we can use so we can text our clients.
Hmm.
And so Elise had mentioned phone and email, but there are other ways now that we have this texting capability that it's easy to contact us. So I do agree that I'm in constant contact with the clients that I have. I feel like meetings are a lot, but on the other side, we're also having meetings with wholesalers or continuing education. There's just a lot that goes into this. For me personally, I live in, again, Arkansas. And so my managing advisor and I, we sometimes have to travel to see our clients. So we
Hmm.
don't necessarily just stay in our office, especially for employee retirement plans. We're going to their place of business. We do whatever we can to make sure that our clients are comfortable in investing.
Absolutely. And I think one of the big things that helps with that is Zoom. So, yes, obviously we use Zoom for people who maybe aren't in our immediate area, but I had a new family come in as clients and they have two babies, right? So they were like, we can't come to the office. So
Right.
even though they live in Reno, we still did our meeting over Zoom. And it was so funny because, the husband is holding one baby and she's holding the other, and we're talking about their finances. But that's the beauty of working in today's world. We get to do that.
No, and I think it's another thing to also mention. Zoom is great for lunch breaks. There's no
Mhm.
reason why not to be able to set up a meeting because we're very flexible, and when we're meeting with our clients, we understand that everybody typically works from 8 to 5. So sometimes it's the evening and weekends that are best for them. And again, we bend over backwards to make sure that our clients are comfortable in what they need for investing with us.
Absolutely. And yeah, we understand how life works and we're flexible because of that. So, moving on, that's a little bit of how we work, but who do we work with, Holly?
So one thing that my office takes a lot of pride in is we also, aside, and I will break down the clients, but I do want to mention that we work with estate attorneys, we work with accountants, um, we work with loan officers. Not too long ago, I had a client tell me how much they were going to pay for the interest on their loan, and I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! Let's check around."
Yeah.
And the contacts that I have at the bank, I reached out to them, and we these are people that we work with regularly, so we have great contacts everywhere. So we have several center of influences that we use for our clients. To break down who actually are our clients, it can be anywhere from the high schooler that's got a summer job that wants to open a Roth and has zero balance, all the way up to the retiree that has a lot of money that they've saved for several years that they're wanting to ensure is still there for the remaining portion of their life, or even the business owners that have a retirement plan.
Absolutely. And I think like at each level or, different path that you're on, we have a product for you, which is really great. So as you get more advanced, we can get more advanced with you. And yeah, I think our we don't work with account minimums. Our big rule in our office is we have to like you. But that goes a long way. And I think, when you're looking for a financial advisor, whether you're thinking about working with Holly and I, or you have these other relationships you're kind of courting, you do need to find someone that you click with, personality wise, because obviously, all financial advisors are going to give you great advice and great insight, but you need someone that you can be really honest with and comfortable expressing hard things, because that's a lot of our job is talking about uncomfortable things. So I think that personality, um, I don't know, compatibility maybe is the word I'm looking for, is also really important.
And obviously, we're not limited to just females, but it has become kind of our focus. And I think part of that is because when Elise and I first entered this industry, we realized that one, there's not a lot of female advisors out there. We're definitely a minority, and we're also a minority because we're under 40, probably. I mean, I think we would probably be a very small percentage of female advisors. I'm very lucky that I'm from an area that has had a female advisor for years and years, and she's absolutely wonderful. Not every area is like that, and I feel like there's a lot of female clients that when they go talk to a male, and I'm in no way wanting to put down male financial advisors, but let's be real, like some males don't know how to relate to females and their concerns. And so for us, it has just made it even more important to try and get this information out there to females.
Absolutely. And I think we actually work with a lot of families and a lot of couples, but it's mostly, our first meeting is usually with the woman in the relationship, and then we kind of build from there.
Mhm.
And exactly what Holly said, it's not that male advisors are bad, but I know that I want to work with a woman, so I know there are other women out there that want to as well, because we can relate on that basis. But of course, if you're a man and you're listening to this, we would want to work with you. Yeah, so I know you mentioned we work with all these different partners, estate planners, CPAs, but what does that look like in terms of our services for our clients? Like, what can we offer people?
So when I actually sit down with a client, I always tell them like bring all their statements that they want me to review, whether that's former workplace retirement plans, or it's your life insurance policy, or if it's your tax documents,
Mhm,
whatever that you want us to just take a peek at.
mhm.
Because at the end of the day, like our job extends so much further than just investing your money. Our job is actually to make sure that there's no financial gaps that's going to cause any issue down the road. And so we ask questions like, do you have a will? Are your PODs up to date? Sometimes very just uncomfortable questions because people don't like to think about death, but at the end of the day, we try and look at big picture.
Mhm. And I think we talked about this a little bit in January, but I just want to bring it up again. If you're thinking about doing like a review of your finances every year, a great thing to look at is your beneficiaries. And because it goes out of sight, out of mind. So going through your accounts and looking at all that information and just making sure it's exactly how you want to be once a year, really good advice, and it will make it a lot easier down the road if you're just always up to date on that.
Right, and that's something when you have an active financial advisor, they should be asking you these questions too. And
Yeah.
I will say again, this is where LPL stands out is they really push us not just looking at our clients' investments and saying that's good enough. They want more of a holistic approach and we look at big picture on everything. So we are looking at making sure beneficiaries and PODs is something we review every single year. And even back on that podcast I told on myself, and I'm going to tell on myself again, I sit down with every client and ask them, are your PODs up to date? And then a few weeks prior to us doing the podcast, I had the bank call me and say, by the way, you don't even have PODs on this account. And so I know exactly how easy it is to just overlook that. But it's something you've got to be diligent in.
Yeah, absolutely. And just real quickly, we can work with all your center of influences. We can work with your CPA if we're going to tax harvest 1 year and sell for some losses or anything like that. We can work right there with you. And another thing I wanted to say is Holly and I both really believe in client education. So when you start working with us, each time we meet, we want you to learn more about the process because we don't want you to just walk in and be like, handle it. I don't really care what's going on. We want our clients to be actively engaged and know what they're investing in. So if someone asks, oh, what is your retirement account invested in? You can answer that question because I think knowledge is really important and makes us feel good about what we're doing.
Yes. So, Elise, I'm going to pivot on you again, and we're going to talk about my number one question, which is how do you get paid? Do you want to take it from here?
Yes. So Holly is right. Every single discovery meeting I have, it always gets asked, how do I get paid? And there's really two ways advisors can get paid. And it's great to ask if you're meeting with an advisor, and also they should disclose it. But the two ways are fee based and commission based. So, Holly, what is a commission based advisor?
So, we also do commission, we may use the word advisory, and
Mhm.
it means you're paying like a percentage based on the account. And I don't typically, for Elise and I, we say 1%.
Yeah.
Not every advisor charges it. So be sure and ask what the percentage is because some may charge a little bit more. And anyways, that's a whole other discussion. But basically, you do not pay for any of the trades.
Mhm.
That 1% covers everything.
Yes, exactly. So that's that fee-based advisor. And then on the other hand, and so that's advisory account, you hear those words. So then on the other hand, we have what we call brokerage, and that's a commission-based advisor. So if I like call up Holly and I say, hey, IBM is going to go through the roof. Do you want to buy 50 shares? And she says, yes. Then I make a commission off of that sale. So that's where every single transaction you're getting charged as a client and the advisor is making money. So we mostly work in advisory based. We're actually a combo. We can do both. But why we choose to do advisory based is because we think it's better for the client long term. You're not getting charged individual fees on each transaction you're making. And it's letting us be that holistic advisor for you. So by charging you a fee, we get to do everything in our power to make you successful and go out of our way to help you. So it just is a better fee structure. And in the long term, your accounts are going to be better served because of that.
Yeah, I will say when we have what we call just a brokerage account, and I do have clients that that's what they want, and I'm not going to talk them out of it because, again, it's their money, and you pay yearly. I think it's about $45, and then you pay anytime stocks are bought or sold. However, if there's a large amount in there that's being bought and sold, you're going to end up paying more than what you would if it was in an advisory account. And so that's something that you have got to take into consideration and even talk to your financial advisor about. If they're recommending an advisory account, it may end up saving you money in the long term. Plus, we're more active in advisory accounts because we're not worrying about how much it's going to cost you to buy and sell. That's something we really have to take in consideration in brokerage accounts because we don't want to run up the fees on you.
Absolutely. And anything under a retirement account umbrella, we can make changes without affecting taxes whatsoever. So having that freedom to really actively manage your account is really beneficial as an investor from your perspective. All right. So we talked about how we make money. We talked about how we were advisors. Is there anything else? I feel like this was a good intro into our world if people haven't met us and want to know what we're all about.
No, I think that that covers it all. I just want to reiterate that, again, we are easy to reach. So if there's any question that comes from this podcast, please don't hesitate to contact us through our social media accounts or contact us by phone. And we always list our rep chat numbers where you can text to.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have a webinar coming up in March. So you'll see that announcement in our newsletter and you'll be able to sign up soon as well. So get excited for that too. This is our mandatory disclosure statement. Elise Levy with Legacy Wealth Planning in Reno, Nevada. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Mariner Independent Advisor Network, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Mariner Independent Advisor Network, LLC, and Legacy Wealth Planning are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Holly Henry with River Valley Wealth Management near Mena, Arkansas. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.